It's not really a topic I care much to talk about, but I see it getting worse. So, in our biology, we're sexual creatures. And when you go online and you see, half naked women and things like this, like for some people that's triggering. It's not that it's exploitive, it's that it works the imagination. And the imagination tends to link things while you're in it, at least for some of us. For a lot of us, it's only information we already know and information we analyze. But trying to create new information from nothing is pretty much impossible for some people at this time. And now, when you look at anything that can be, it could just be a shape of something in a room, and it automatically takes you to that part of your brain that now you want that sexual serotonin, and you want that kind of that forbidden feeling like you're doing something wrong, but it creates excitement. And basically, the more desperate you are, I believe, the less experienced you are, maybe, the more triggers you're gonna have. And now, like, they made the word in Japan in the '80s, Lolita, which is a anime character that is underage with childish features, but they say, oh, they're centuries of years old. And so this is exactly what I'm talking about, one of those triggers. But it reaches into the biology, and because people are programmed at some point, maybe within their biology itself, maybe from trauma. I don't know. I don't know exactly all the extent of why it happens, but I do know part of it is those triggers. If you never get past those triggers, never mature past those triggers, you're always gonna see the same triggers, and they're gonna create the same feeling. Now, I'm trying not to, go too in depth about the some of the traits of people that are more likely to do it, because people will be quick to point fingers, and that can cause a serious problem. And then, you know, yeah. So, so basically, you have those skinny guys that aren't bad looking with the overweight women. I'm talking really overweight, like the ones that you spot right away. Guys usually have this thing where they'll get with somebody that doesn't look the greatest, but they usually have to have something that person wants to use. It's not just comfort, it's not just company, because if they're staying with that person, you know there's a lot of variables to it. But a lot of those times, if that woman has kids, and you see the kid, because mothers that are extremely insecure usually look more for themselves because of the depression. Depression kind of has a unique effect on connections between people. So if you're depressed, you're not going to act the way you normally do, and you're going to give in to things that you normally wouldn't, such as your man touching your kid. And man, it happens so freaking much. And I've been watching cop videos. I've been watching, a few things. Just watched a thing about streamers and their files popping up, and everybody made a joke out of it. And I'm thinking, this world it hasn't changed as much as we thought. It's the internet, the wide base communication that has allowed us to to bring this stuff up instantly before people have a chance to, stop it or anything. And, it's the convenience of being able to post, the convenience of being able to make videos. So this information, as it becomes normalized, the whole population changes. Everything changes. It's the same with progressiveness. When they come out with technology, sure, it starts off slow and then it becomes normalized, 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 and then eventually everybody's using it. But not everybody's using it for the same reason. You have people that want to find the boundaries of what they can do, and then other people that want to find those boundaries just because they want that feeling of excitement from doing something they know they're not supposed to do. So like look at all these videos online of these, families with their kids in a underground bunker, and they're selling their kids, and it's like, wow. I'm thinking the things these kids have to go through. And Gen Z, oh, Gen Z, the highest rate of single people. The women aren't being chased. Why? Well, because this material of underagers online, especially, they think they're getting away with it. And if they don't get caught, I mean, there's a bar that has to be set. Once you hit that bar, they come after you, right? You're tagged, but you're tagged way before that. Why? Because we expect the buildup. Everybody expects the buildup. You might steal $5 from somebody. In a year you'll be stealing, $500. Not because it was just there, but because you started with $5 and thought, well, I didn't get caught, so now I'm going to steal 10, because it's just laying there. Next I'm going to steal this person's microwave and see if they notice that, and it's that buildup. So this is how normalization happens, is that buildup among people. Like when I was in prison, I'm standing there talking to these six older guys, all older than me at the time. And one of them says, man, Miley Cyrus. And the other guy says, man, she was so much better looking when she was like really young. And I said, well, I didn't say anything. I looked around. All these guys are like, yep, yep. Okay. Yeah. I don't know you guys. Yeah. You start off with normalizing that. You can only imagine where these guys' mindsets are going. So Gen Z, since they were born into the digital age, that lack of caution, that lack of buildup, the buildup happens much faster because this generation grew up together, and why are they so confident even though they've always been single? Well, I wonder why. Because they're finding the stimulation they want. They're able to contact these girls to hang out with their friends, and they're talking to their friends' sisters, that are like 9. So obviously the we should not allow the buildup to even happen. I mean, if they're tagging you, then they should be having you seek help before you break the law, right? Oh, it's common sense. Well, people tend to try to bounce off, to try to make their way through to normalize, normalize in their mind. And then when it normalizes in other people's minds, and then they get together and realize they both normalized it, well, that means, it's like cockroaches. When you see one, there's already a bunch of.